Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we have a 2011 Nissan Rogue. Nissan Rogue. The customer states that the blower motor doesn't work, so let's get into it. So we verified we've got no blower motor at all. The blower motor, I can't even see it. So ordinarily I would just check for power at the blower motor, but since I can't get to it relatively easily, underneath the, kind of on top of the kick panel, there is a fuse panel door. And according to this, both the upper rights are 15 amp fuses. So we'll check them for power. Alright, so both our fuses have power and are not blown, so now we're going to have to go to the blower motor. Taking some of these panels off, see if we can get to it anywhere. There's one T20 Torx bit down here on the bottom left of this. Go ahead and take this off. Go ahead and take this knee bolster thing off. It's 410s. Now we're going to be working on getting this brake pedal and gas pedal assembly out. There is one, two, and then I'll do what I can to get you over there. 3, and then above that, 4. What I found to be, obviously ours is already loose, but what I found to be easiest was to get this gas pedal wire plug connector undone and unplug this from this bracket, and then you can kind of get this, tuck this up out of the way, and that gives you easier access to that upper bolt. They are 13s, so you can zip those loose, and then you're also going to have to work on this clevis pin here. And it's also barbed. Getting this thing out is no cakewalk. You kind of have to push the booster back a little bit, and you can kind of pull it this direction and get it off of these two studs, and then you just kind of have to wiggle it around to get it off the final stud. And then there's 2 brake light switches and 1 connector for the harness for the brake light switches. But anyway, enough fighting around with it. You'll finally get it out. So what we're trying to get to is up here. What we're going to do is we're going to unplug that connector. We're going to check, make sure it's got power and ground. And if so, then we got a bad blower motor. So we'll get to that. Okay. Is that off, I guess? Or is that's full?
Yeah, that's off. That's high.
Okay, it's working. Okay. All right, guys. I'll just walk you through how I got this out because it's hard to get in there and to film any of this. So your screw, I broke the old one off, but the screw is going to be right here. There's only one screw in it, and it's a Phillips head. So you can take this screw out. Then what you have to do is you have to rotate this assembly counterclockwise. You'll see if you look up in there that there's a kind of a barb that this thing will go into that helps lock it into position. So rotating it counterclockwise will unlock it from there. So as you go to pull this out, you're going to hit a brake bracket that's right here. And so I was struggling trying to figure out how to get it out. So finally what I decided to do was take out this Phillips head screw. So you can take this out, and then you can rotate this thing. You're going to be looking at it like this. So underneath it, you can go in here and pry out, and that'll eventually...
I'm going to say this is kind of hard to convince, to be convincing of that.
Well, that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Now I got it out in the car. Believe it or not, I did get this out in the car using that method. That's why this piece is all broken right here. So you can get this out, and then you're left with this in the car like this, and you can finagle this thing down and get it out. So this is the method that we're going to use for the new one. The new one comes apart much easier. So that's the method that we're going to do to go back in with it. All right, so we got our blower motor back in. It was a little easier said than done, but word of advice: pull your the wire for the blower motor out, because I got it back in there and actually got it turned, and then realized that that connector had gotten pushed back by the squirrel cage fan, so I had to take it back out and do it again. So pull that thing out and get it up out of the way before you put it in there and turn it in. But that way is doable. It's a lot of holding your tongue and swearing, but you can get it in like that. So now we'll go ahead and start getting our I was almost going to say clutch pedal, brake pedal assembly back in.
That's gonna go in easier than coming out.
Yeah. I knew how to hold my tongue when I was going back in with it. I remembered. All right, we'll go ahead and throw our knee bolster back on. That's mo better. So that's going to wrap this one up, guys. We apologize for the poor camera work. There's a reason that we don't do a ton of in-dash stuff because it's just really hard to get in there and do anything. But I feel like this is a semi-common problem, and it's something that this is unorthodox, to say the least, of how to get it. So that being said, you might want to think about just paying somebody else to do it because it's kind of a pain in the butt. And also being said, I wouldn't skimp out and throw a $30 Amazon part in here. This is a lot of work to do for you to have to go back 3 months later and do it again. So either an OEM option or something like a Denso or a Delphi or something that is good. You're going to save yourself an awful lot of work to do it. Overall, I'm not going to lie and say it isn't that bad. I mean, you better do some yoga before you get started because you're going to be in there upside down and getting vertigo and head rush and everything else. I mean, it is kind of sucky, just being honest with you, but it is doable. You can do it on your own with fairly basic tools. So parts and labor breakdown. This thing, all data called for 2.5 hours, but then it also said doesn't include evac and recharge. Now, I didn't read what the repair manual said to do, so I don't know if it wants you pulling that whole box out or pulling the evaporator out or whatever. We didn't have to mess with the refrigerant when it was all said and done, so I'm not sure why that was in there, unless maybe it was a combination if you did the blower and something else. But anyway, so that was that. The part, we got it from Nissan, and it was a lot. It was I think it was $250. So but the first one lasted 13 years, so hopefully the second one will last another 13 years. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. Hopefully you earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
I'll pick you up at 8. You probably won't be awake. Call yourself an Uber, babe. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
After seeing you put this back together, I'm like, what took so long?
Well, the fact that we took 15 unnecessary things off